Can y'all see me? Can y'all see me? Is everybody good with me? Is everybody good with me? Let me know out there in the chat. Am I back? Okay, James. Awesome. Listen, you got to do more than that, because I'm going to keep talking. Y'all. I'm going to keep talking. Yes, I am. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to let folks come on back in. I'm going to let the folks come on back in, and then we're going to trigger it up again. Oh, yes. You know what? I love this platform. I absolutely love this platform. I'm gonna give everybody a chance to make it back. Let me refresh up here and see where we're at. My numbers. Oh yeah, Trigger, you're good. We all good with you, Trigger. Ain't no problem. Yeah, we cool up in here. SK's back. I got Teresa out there someplace floating around. BTD mom is back. Yeah, just put back in there when you make it back in. I know James, JJ, Rebel, and Trigger are here. I got several more out there on their way back. So we're gonna give them just a hot second to be able to round the corner and get back up in here. Yeah. SK, you said something earlier on, and I'm gonna go back to it, but I want to kind of give people. There's Teresa. Awesome, sis. Awesome. I got several more that are still out there trying to make their way back in. And there we go. We're coming on back up. We're starting to come on back up. I'm looking for a few more to make it back. Yeah, I got a few more that haven't quite rounded the corner yet. Rhonda Royal, let me know when you make it back. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right, we're going to get ready to continue to roll. Okay, let's get that music going back up. I appreciate you all. You know, I have to say this, mysteriously, whenever I get on the roll like what I was on just before we got mysteriously disconnected, somehow I get disconnected. And it's always very, very interesting. I ain't touching nothing. At one point we were like, maybe there's some connections loose and this and that and the other. But at the end of the day, you're not going to stop me from speaking my truth. I'm not afraid to speak. Whether it's just by happenstance, I just happen to go out at those precise moments and those precise times. It doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, I'm one of those. Listen, my name, Regina, means queen. My middle name is Louise, which means warrior. Disruptions will not win. So I'm a queen warrior. You got to bring something to me, because listen, I'm the queen of warrior. You better ask somebody. My name, my mother and my father prophesied when they gave me the name Regina Louise, because they both have significant meaning. And listen, Wonder Woman, dun 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 dun. I don't know about all of that, Trig, but I tell you what, you got to really bring something to shut me down, because I just keep on. I take a licking and I keep on ticking with the strength and the power of God and my friends and my family that love me. So let's crank that music back up. Let's get going. I know there's some others that have not quite made it back, but that's okay. We'll let them jump in where they can get in. Now, SK said something that I want us to really pay attention to. And I got to go back up in the chat to get it, because it's already scrolled past it in my feed. But I'm going to go up and get that thing, because it was a gem. It was a jewel. Pro-life includes adequate nutrition, education, health care, mental health, and more. Pro-life is more than pro-birth. Oh, you said it, girl. You said it. Pro-life is more than mere pro-birth. And so for everybody that wants to continuously get caught up in that trap, and I'm gonna go back. I love what Trigger said. The devil speaks with a forked tongue. Just because they're born into this world does not mean that's the end of pro-life existence. No, it does not. And for everybody that thinks that way, I want you to understand. I don't care what kind of Christianity, I don't care what kind of Bible, I don't care what you try to attach to it. That is not what pro-life is about. And stop using it. Stop weaponizing it. Stop using it as a political tool to get people that can't think. Ah, yeah, let's get back to Milgram. We're not stupid sheep that can't think. You got some critical thinkers up in the house. You got some critical thinkers that are able to think beyond whatever you want to push out there as a weaponized concept. We're not buying what you're selling. And so at the end of the day, we're not deceived, we're not confused, we're not confounded about what pro-life means. I want us to really take note and pay attention, because all of this is designed, and Trigger, I'm so glad everybody that's here, I'm glad for every one of you coming and bringing truth up in O Cube. This is, yes, you, O Cube. One-on-one, just me and you having this conversation. Y'all spitting truth up in here. And at the end of the day, I'm so glad, even when it comes to Brother Daniel, I'm so glad we've started the first part of the justice, but we need the last part of the justice. Don't throw money at us. Breonna Taylor's family needs the second part of justice. It's not enough. If you care about listen, pro-life, if you care about birthing lives into this world, care about us after the end. So at the end of the day, justice for Breonna Taylor. Justice. Wrong screen. Shut up, sir. I want justice. Justice for Breonna Taylor. Justice for Daniel Prude. Come on, y'all. We want justice. So at the end of the day, that's all I got to say about Madam Mayor. And I'm proud of her. I am. Every time I see the sisters coming with it. And I want to say for all the sisters, the mayors all across the country, I mean, these sisters been showing out. These sisters been showing up. These sisters been making folk mad. Listen, my favorite one yet, let me make sure I'm on the right, because listen, my favorite one yet was Black Lives Matter, that went right across, right in front of the White House. That sister upset some folks. That was my favorite one yet. When that sister, I'm gonna do one more for her. Right in front of the White House. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. These sisters are cutting up. So my hat's off to y'all. My hat's off to y'all. Y'all cutting up. Y'all cutting up. Y'all cutting up. And I love every minute of it. Now, listen. Roderick Walker case. There's a case going on in Georgia where a Georgia rideshare passenger was beaten by the police, and he's now saying he's scared to even describe his ordeal to people. This is in Clayton County, Georgia. There goes the shade. Georgia, Georgia. We got you on our mind today, but not for the reason you think. This man is saying he's scared to even talk. Because at the end of the day, you walk out the door and you don't know what's going to happen to you. I'm going to say this even with regard to the woman who stood up, the lioness, the mama bear who stood up for that 19-year-old son, which is now hitting all over the place. It's hit everywhere. She's in the news this morning as well. I just didn't pull that story out because I talked about it extensively on the other day, but I'm gonna bring it back up because it's still out there. They're still being harassed, and the blessing, if I can call it that, with her scenario, after all of this went viral and all the insanity and craziness started, it just so happened that the news crew was in her side filming, but I guess they didn't know it. And so as they're leaving, these multiple police cars, excuse me, are riding down the street towards her house, almost like they're getting ready to do some kind of drive-by or something. And when she came out, they kept approaching her, but when the news crew came out behind her and they started filming inside the house, came outside the house, and they saw the news crew there with the cameras, they both did a U-turn, peeled rubber, and burnt out and went the opposite direction. Now, T, it's okay. It's okay. I'm so glad you jumped in. I'm so glad that you jumped in with us today. Catch us next week, and God bless you. God bless you. Much love to you. Get that body, get that blood flowing. Love you. Love you, sis. Now, as she said, she's very, very happy that the news crew was there because they caught all of this on camera. Now, so when I listen to this brother who's saying he's scared to even talk about his ordeal, there is intimidation out there right now that is really very frightening. And so intimidation, that's what it is, BTD mom. They're trying to intimidate. And she said the news crew, and she named the station. The news crew said they're going to run it. They were going to run it. They were going to run the story, and they were going to run the footage of the police department trying to intimidate her. And as they said, if they didn't mean her any harm, why were they creeping up on her? Or and again, not necessarily physical harm, but mental harm. Don't play games with us. When you make a physical threat by your presence and the means and mode, it's bullies, Rhonda. They're bullies. The mode of your presence, can I be real? It's the modern day version of burning a cross. Did you hear what I said? It's a modern day version of burning the cross. It's sending a signal and telling you something. You don't know what's going to happen afterwards, but you definitely know that you're on their radar. You definitely know that you're in their sights. They've got their gun aimed at you, and they're just waiting for the opportunity, and you don't know when it's going to go down. So even that essence of Malcolm X, I'm not going to live in fear. I still got to do what I'm going to do. But you see, he separated himself away from his family because they didn't care whether it's you, your family, your children. We'll kill all of you. We don't care. Be it known unto you. We'll get all of you. And I'm not trying to run and teach fear and hate mongering and all of that. We're talking about stuff that's really happening. These things are really happening. And where people want to bury their heads in the sand and say, oh, that ain't real, that's fake news. This is real news. This is why the mother of that young man, 19-year-old son, was so happy. She said it was God that the news crew was here. Because number one, then you can't say, oh, that's her and her husband that did that video. Then you can't say, oh, that was her neighbor. That was somebody that had some kind of vested interest in it. These people just happen to be impartial, innocent bystanders there getting the story. And so you just happened, sirs and ma'am, because the woman, the police officer that caused all of this insanity was actually a female police officer. You know, people were saying all kinds of derogatory remarks about her because she looked a little different in her approach and in her stance and the attitude that she had. It was like, you know, really? So at the end of the day, and even her, going back to your word BTD, mom, her whole conversation as she was supposedly and allegedly stopping this young man to write him a ticket for having drove through a stop sign. And I'm saying allegedly at this point because nobody was there. Do we have a camera? Can we see it? You're saying he ran through a stop sign. We already know. Say whatever you want to say to make the stop. So she's got her hand on the gun the whole time. Do you need to have your hand on a gun and perched and ready when it's a stop sign? A stop sign. So at the end of the day, getting on with this story, to tie it back to the story that started this story, when the news crew captured it as an impartial witness and ran the story, I'm telling y'all, cameras have been the friends of black bodies all the way back to the civil rights movement back in the 50s and 60s. What really started galvanizing the country to say this must stop is when they started making national news. They're sicking dogs on little kids. They're turning water hoses on little kids. They're beating folks with a baton, little kids. When the nation saw what was going on by camera, then folks started, as they said, we got southern or northern sympathizers and we got agitators coming from all over the country. We finally showed what you've been doing all along, and it was captured on tape. But it didn't just start. And even in 2020, it hasn't stopped. And so as the woman and the camera crews insisted, they felt like without a doubt they had captured intimidation in that camera footage. The burning of a new cross, creeping down the street in your cars, more than one. So this gentleman, and listen, in Georgia, and I don't even know what part of Georgia, and listen, I said Georgia, I'm not trying to put Georgia on front because it's happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere. I'm going to go back to the 27-year-old that got police culture is taught to all officers, white, black, female, male, extensive research. And thank you, SK, because this is where she has her degree. Her degree is in this study, so she's not just talking off the top of her head. Extensive research has shown this. Intimidation is part of that culture, which is still a direct result and a direct offspring, if you will, of how they started steeped in racism. Will intimidate you. Listen, because reality, even when the Popo originally started as slave catchers, don't you think there wasn't some sport? Good morning, Heat. Heat in the house. Heat is in the house. Bring that heat, girl. We understand, SK, just like you said, intimidation is part of that culture, because many times it wasn't just a matter, let's pick them up and take them back to the plantation that they ran away from. No, we're going to have sport with you first. We're going to intimidate you first. We're going to terrorize you first. We're going to have you stressed out and really shaking in your boots first. Because we got to show you who's in charge. We got to show you who the big person is. No, you're little. You're little. You're small. You're small. You are small. But that's what small people do to try to make themselves feel big. So at the end of the day, and I really think as we move into 2021, I'm not opposed by any stretch of the imagination. How are we going to clean this up? Baby, it's going to take money. And I'm saying it from this standpoint, and y'all may agree with me or not. I feel like all of these jokers on the police departments need to be retested, need to expunge all of the weak links, and it's a whole bunch of them. And if they cannot cut the mustard and pass certain tests that identify that they are not a part of this lynching culture in law enforcement, and it's good, out the door. Out the door with no pensions and nothing else. Because listen, sending them out the door and they still getting paid. Listen, no, you don't get paid. You don't get a pension. And somebody said it earlier and I didn't mention it. But we need to do a follow-up because a lot of times, even after you've done these things, we got a case working right here locally, where a young man that goes to the church that I attend and play for, that young man was finally released from jail after all of these trumped up charges are revealed for what they were by Project Innocence and the Exoneration Project. He finally gets out of jail. They promise him all this money, haven't paid a dime. But the police officers that were directly responsible for all of the dastardly deeds and lies and setup and abuse of power, and yes, it included sexual impropriety with black women. One of his parents, his mother was one, and because she wouldn't do sexual favors, that's how the son got set up. This is all proven. This is all discovered. This is all revealed. Those police officers, while Brother Lamont hasn't gotten one red nickel, those police officers retired and they're still getting a pension. And you want to know why we don't trust the system. You want to know why we don't believe when you tell us you're working in our behalf. You want to know why we're saying it's not isolated. Stop telling us it's isolated, because we can go in any state in this union and get stopped for driving while black. We can go to any state in this union and wake up dead for no reason. We can go to any state in this union and find sundown towns still. We can go to any state in this union and find all of the above. It's not isolated. It's not isolated. And stop trying to push that narrative. And it really does not fly with people that walk around in black skin. We know the truth. We live the truth. We experience the truth. And anybody that's deluded, yes, I recognize there's some Stockholm syndrome even in the black community. And why is, I almost want to say, I don't believe it's Stockholm syndrome. I think it's almighty dollar. If you give me enough money and you pump me up enough and you position me where I can make, yes, SK, retired with a pension after stealing 20 plus years of that young man's life. Retired with the pension, eating fat, looking fat, getting fat. After taking 20 years plus of this young man's life, and he hasn't seen a penny. And he has shared his PTSD. Y'all ain't buying what I'm selling. His post-traumatic stress disorder. Listen, babies, there ain't no amount of money that can take that post-traumatic stress away. It's not going to be a matter of X dollars. Here you go. Start a new life. You're better than you were when you went in. No, he's not. There's no remedy, and he's not made whole. But then you'll be so dastardly, you won't even pay the man his money. While those officers picking their teeth, getting fat, living large with absolutely, positively no consequence. I tell you, if there's any confusion in your mind that the system that we've been teaching on, and that's why I'm taking so much time to teach on the system, because I want you to understand from whence it came. I want you to understand, because as I said, when you read it in the history books, when you watch it on the news, when you see it in the commentary, these are the areas that are conveniently left out and or whitewashed, told with a new narrative, told with a whole new concept behind it, because we can manipulate, because we can switch, because we can change it around. And then why are the people just so resistant to believing these are isolated incidents? Because we live the truth. And we've seen it, heard it all before. We've heard it all before. And that narrative, spun whatever way you want to spin it, it hasn't changed. So why am I spending so much time? Because change is going to come. And I'm not, listen, there's a revolution at hand, and I'm not talking about violence. I'm hearing all kinds of things about what's going to happen after November 3rd, if and when. I'm not worried about all of that. That's not where I am. I'm talking to OQ. Yes, you, one-on-one, just me and you. There is a healthy revolution that's going to come. There's a positive revolution that's going to come. I believe that you reap what you sow. And I'm not even talking about the negative. I'm talking about the positive. For those that have continued to press on in spite of, you reap what you sow. To those that have continued to do right for wrong, you reap what you sow. For those that have continued to believe and push and teach and educate and say, let's do this and let's do it the right way, you reap what you sow. There is a revolution that's going to come from truth being told and truth being propagated and truth standing up against centuries worth of lies. There's something in a revolution that's going to come from what we're doing here by telling and exposing the truth, because a change is going to come. I believe that revolutionary change is now. I believe that not only from the coronavirus, but for everything that has led up to now and everything that has occurred in 2020, we are getting ready to walk into a revolutionary positive. We are one. Let's come together. One love, one heart, one peace. I believe that revolution is now. Because the beauty of the internet, the beauty of the ability for truth to go viral is that you can't have 5 weeks to get your narrative together. And it ain't nothing more than a lie. You don't have 5 weeks to get your lie together. Truth is a phoenix and it always rises. Come on here. Come on here. SKU preaching to me. Truth is a phoenix, and out of the fire, through the fire, come on, I need some Shaka Khan in the house. Through the fire, to the limit, through the fire, the phoenix always rises. Truth is that phoenix. And you can only lie for so long. You can only lie for so long. The lie can only take hold for so long. And I know it's been centuries worth of lying, but I'm telling you that we all along the journey have had people that were telling the truth. Sojourner Truth had a reason why she chose that name. There have been people all along. Michelle in the house. Michelle's in the house. All along the way, we've had people telling the truth. Whether it was Frederick Douglass, whether it was W.E.B. Du Bois, whether it's, and we could go on and on and on and on. And even our fiction writers, they all were telling us the truth the whole time. But America didn't want to hear it. But the truth is marching on, and we're going to keep on telling it. We're going to keep on telling it. We're going to keep on speaking it. We're going to keep on making it plain. We're going to keep on laying it bare so that people can understand the truth of the situation, not what's been whitewashed, not what's been made up, not what they want you to believe, but the truth. That's why Mother Mayor in Rochester, you're getting all my props today. Because Mother Mayor said, I asked you. Y'all know how it is. You know, go back to your childhood and remember when your mother said, now I'm going to give you a chance to tell me what happened. And you know 9 times out of 10, them parents, you parents already know when your child is lying. You already know when that baby is lying. And so, you know, they can tell you all of that lie. And at the end of the day, you're like, that lie ain't gonna fly. You let your child get all of that out, and you know full well that lie ain't gonna fly. So we look at Mama Mayor, and she's like, and listen, hey, as a parent, you can confirm the superpowers exist. Those superpowers exist. And so Mama Mayor, because you know, she still got to go through processes. She still got it. But she said, I loved it when she came out. She said, I asked him from the beginning. And any parent knows, as well as any child, when you hear them tell you those words, I asked you from the beginning, you know your ship is sunk. The Titanic just went down. Well, praise God. On this morning, the police chief of Rochester, his ship just went down. Yes, you're out of there. And it's good. Now, you know where we come to this point and we just kind of chill because we encourage whatever you do in life, self-care. And I believe I saw and I read that September is a month of honoring self-care. And so I'm going to really emphasize that, as we always do in the show, or we often do, because sometimes I get to going and I just roll right on through. But even in rolling right through on this Friday, this is Friday. It's a great day to be alive. You guys have been with me all week long. You've hung with me. You've listened to me, and I've listened to you. We've talked together. We have communed together. We've laughed together and pretty near cried together. But listen, at the end of the day, and this is where I change my shades. At the end of the day, take care of yourself. Take care of yourselves. You only get one you. Live your life to the fullest. Enjoy it. Don't worry about what the people say. You do you. Do yourself. Enjoy yourself. Do something special for yourself. Some of you parents that are having to homeschool right now, you need a break. Find a way to maintain and keep your sanity and your wholeness. Because at the end of the day, you are so important. You are so precious. You are so priceless. Yesterday, I performed a funeral service for somebody. That's it. Take care of yourself. I love you too, sweetheart. I performed a funeral service for somebody that was my age exactly. And when I saw that date of birth, it really kind of did something to me. I didn't know the individual. I was asked by the funeral home to come and perform the services, and I was glad to do it to serve the family. I always find it an honor to serve the family. But something about sitting there and looking at that sister, and there's a reality that sets in, and I began to really embrace again this concept. We have got to take care of ourselves because our time is precious. Let's make sure that what we do with it, make it count. Now, this is the portion of the service. This is the portion of O Cubed. Yes, you. One-on-one, just me and you. That we start the empowerment conversation. You know, we've been talking and talking and talking about historical accounts. How did we get here? Why do I keep saying and talking about how did we get here? Because you got to know how you got in to get out, y'all. And then when you get out, you got to know how not to come back to this location. Because I promise you, as you're listening to the stories, so much of what I'm telling you, over and over and over and over and over again, we see it play out. Because the playbook really has not changed. The playbook really has not changed. You'll get new players. You might get a little bit of a blip in change, just a little bit, but at the core of it, it's the same thing. So we've been talking for several weeks now about the color of law. And again, I want to encourage you, those that are interested, go get that book, The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein. No, they're not paying me to do this commercial on their behalf. It is a book that I feel like everybody that wants to understand Black history, how did we get here? And again, for all of those that stand with us that are not in Black bodies, I want you to understand, how did we get here? I want you, and I'm encouraging you to get this book. I'm trying to get my hat straight. I want you to get this book because it lays such an awesome foundation of understanding how in the world did systemic racism get baked, baked, baked into the American fabric. It's not just a iron on decal. It got baked into the fabric. It's imprinted in the fabric. As a matter of fact, the fabric has racism weaved and woven all into it. We got to figure out how to get it out. But if we're going to get it out, we got to know how it got there. So I want you to get The Color of Law. It gives an excellent accounting of de facto and de jure racism and segregation that the United States of America baked into it and still exists in so many different areas. It's either a law that's still on the books, de jure, or it's an act that they're still practicing de facto. Get that book and check it out. Well, we've moved on. We finished that up and we've moved on. I want you to get The Color of Money. The Color of Money. Black banks and the racial wealth gap. The Color of Money. Because then we got to understand economics. And we will not be healed as a country until we change the economics for minorities, particularly black people, until we acknowledge the wrongdoing that has been done. So I'm going to do a little bit of recap. But our word today, I'm going to start talking about the Populist Party. The Populist Party. So yesterday we brought in the reality. Finally get through the sin of slavery. Stealing people from their homelands. Taking them to a foreign land. And then using them through chattel slavery. The sin of slavery. We finally make it through that. Civil war ensues. Post-Civil War. Now, Lincoln promises 40 acres and a mule. Now, even when we go there, I want you to understand, when you talk about 40 acres and a mule, did it happen? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Obviously, like we saw on the video yesterday. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. 40 acres and a mule was really Special Field Order number 15. Now, this is what Tecumseh Sherman came and that field order was issued and proclaimed by Sherman January the 16th, 1865, during the American Civil War, to allot land to the freed families in plots of 40 acres. I'm going to read that again. It was the Special Field Order number 15. Now, mind you, these folks out here fighting, they are fighting, they're giving their lives, they're giving their blood for a country that has abused them from day one. So we finally get this field order in war time. If y'all keep on fighting and we win, we gonna give you, all of the freed families, plots of land, but you can't have more than 40 acres. Now, what did we do? And I want to come here because BTD Mom, was that you that said you can't throw money at us? Well, when we won, somebody said, I told Jesus it'd be all right if it changed my name. When we won, they changed this story, and it wasn't all right. They changed the story. They changed the narrative. And they said, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And I didn't get into this portion of it on yesterday, but it just seems apropos based on the conversation that we've had up to this point relative to what's happening in the news in 2020. But I'm trying to tell you, they do the same playbook over and over again. Now, we're talking about all the way back 1863, 1865, and 2020, same. So they go to those newly freed slaves and soldiers, and they say to them, listen, we got a bright idea. Why don't we give you all bonuses in place of the 40 acres and a mule? And then let you work and pay for the rest of the land that you're going to own. Let's do that instead of the 40 acres and a mule. Let's do that instead of. Okay? Now, bright idea with the bonuses. Now, mind you, the land just went up in a puff of smoke. That promise of no more than 40 acres and a mule just went right up in smoke. Poof! It just went, listen, it was almost like we were playing Let's Make a Deal. That thing just went right up in smoke. And so at the end of the day, let's keep it real. Now here we have the dastardly do. We'll promise you and listen, here we go with believing the story. The freedmen had no political power to reject the deal. Now, you're right about that. We're at your mercy for whatever you do. But now, mind you, I'm going to come here, SK, and I agree wholeheartedly. And I'm not, but when I say that, my shade, if I had my right shades on right now, is about the government. Because that whole heavenly deal, door number 1, door number 2, that whole heavenly deal was trumped up from beginning. And again, mind you, they said that during wartime. When I need you to fight, you might have been getting weary. You might have been getting discouraged. But when I start making promises like that, that's like, honey, that's enough to muster up a little more strength. You gonna give me and my family some land after we get free? You gonna give us a mule so we can work that land after we... Listen, I was tired, but I feel my help. It was just straight up government abuse. I feel my help. I got a second wind. And then when the battle is over, I figured out what was behind door number 1. Nothing. Even to the extent that you come to me and offer me a bonus. But then, in your condescending way, you tell me your bright idea again. Let's take your bonus, and instead of allowing you to squander it, let's make the Freedmen's Bank. So you can save it. Take this bonus money in place of 40 acres. Take this bonus money and work as if you hadn't already worked and earned it. Take this bonus money and work as if you hadn't already promised me in this field order. This is what you're going to do. That's what you told me when I was fighting in the war with my life on the line. This is what you told me with your lying self. And then when the rubber meets the road, we're going to help you. We're going to help you. Let me help you out. Because you don't know reading, writing, and arithmetic. So I don't want you to squander this money away with your ignorant self. Put your money in this bank. We gonna make just for you. And then go work and put your money in here. And when you get enough money, you can buy some land. Throwing money, BTD mom. Throwing money. And then the reality of it, like you said, you better watch, because even after the so-called throwing of the money at us, either we never get the money or they figure out a way to take it back. Every time. Every doggone time they figure out a way to take it back. If you get it. So in the process of all of this, again, you have black ex-slaves that are going out, working hard, putting that money to use and buying land, owning land, paying for land. And at this point, you got everybody working. You got white and black poor working the land. So they say, okay, let's create what they call the People's Party. And this is the reality of it. America constantly has gone through phases of trying to figure out this democratic dirty bird that we have, Democrats and Republicans. That's what it is now. It's been federalist. It's been all different types of things, but off and on, because the dirty bird continues to be plantation capitalism. It's like you can't make it right. You just can't make it right, because plantation capitalism is not right. And I don't know if they could come to a cleaner method of capitalism, but plantation capitalism is not working, where you got labor that's providing everything for the 1% at the top, and we'll never bridge that gap. We'll never get to the top. Very few people are able to break from one class to the next class. They'll find a way, even if you make it there for 30, 40 years, then at the time of your death, they'll figure out a way to take it all back. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at families that have had what you would think is getting them prepared for another level of wealth, and then for some reason it's lost, just like it never existed. I told you about the family member that said, listen, I did all of this. I've gotten all the way here. And then when the '08 bubble burst, everything that I had in stocks, what I had done the way y'all told me to do it, I'm at a point of retirement. Y'all got me back over the barrel again. It's a sin and a shame. It's dastardly. Well, we come up with this work your way. And they decided, listen, and again, we keep looking for ways to change the system, and how can we do it? So the Populist Party pops up out of that. And the Populist Party, really, their whole thing is, we all work in the land, let's come together. We're all working the land. We're all out here humping. We're all out here poor. We're all out here with nothing. Black and white, we're all out here. If you're not landowners, if you're not ones that made money by being in the merchants, if you are not making money as a merchant and somebody that's got a business, if you're not one of those in some kind of trade where money's going, if you're not one of them, you're in trouble just like we are. Let's make a party. So they make the Populist Party, better known as the People's Party, because we all in this together, and we all out here working this land like dogs, trying to make it. Now, as I said on yesterday, had they just followed that same mindset, it would have been a beautiful thing. Because by them coming together, they finally had found a means by which, through the Populist Party, to begin to be a threat to the status quo, i.e. money, the haves and the have-nots. So we have the People's Party that was founded in 1891. They start saying, listen, let's pull this thing together. Let's work together. Let's organize together. Let's make a difference together. Because at the end of the day, black or white, poor is poor. And we tired of being poor. Poor is poor. And we're tired of being poor. Let's band together and make a party. The People's Party. The Poor People's Party. Let's do this. And I'm really kind of saying this for a reason too. We would be smart to unite in the same way today. Challenge plantation capitalism. I'm exactly with you, SK. And that's really what I'm trying to say. Unless we do something of this nature, we will continue. You hear what I say? Continue to fly this dirty bird. And this bird has been dirty from the beginning. Because when you talk Republican, that's one wing. When you talk Democrat, that's one wing. I'm really not worried about the wings. The wings is what give it the ability to fly. I'm concerned about the bird. The bird is the dirty bird of plantation capitalism. And unless you change the bird, unless you change the core of it, doesn't matter what wings are. Doesn't matter. Unless you can get some wings that are going to come to the bird and say, we're going to clean you up and you're going to fly right. Because, baby, this bird is a drunk bird. It's drunk on power. It's drunk on money. It's drunk on racism. It's drunk on everything that goes against the lives of the people. And at some point, the people ought to say, enough is enough and too much is too much. We got to come together. And I don't care if you keep the same wings. I don't care if it stays Republican. I don't care if it stays Democratic. All I'm saying is we got to find some wings that are going to clean this dirty bird up and fly right. The reason why we don't hear anything from the other side of the wing right now, one dirty wing can't tell the other dirty wing nothing. That's why we hear this. So we get the People Party, the Populist Party. And again, I'm saying this is the same concept. And I love their emblem. Their logo was a fist with a tool in it. Because that's what we got, y'all. We may not have the money, but we got some tools. We got some tools. It's our tools that make this country work. But I'm telling you, history repeats itself. So when the status quo saw that they were literally at a point of being threatened, how are we going to break that up? How are we going to break that down? How are we going to stop this movement dead in its tracks? Oh, I know. Separate the white people from the black people and let's start race baiting. Told y'all, I'm breaking this thing down, so I hope you can see it and understand it and comprehend it for what it is. Because at one time, black and white worked together against wealthy people, against the status quo, against plantation capitalism being in control and dominating. Because who better to determine what the working people need than the working people? It makes perfect sense. How many times do we see money and wealth that's completely disassociated and out of touch with the working person? But sir and ma'am, your business wouldn't work if we weren't providing you the labor. So at the end of the day, we have the Populist Party, where we end up with power increasing. And so at this point, I have got to figure out how to make a house divided against itself, because it can't stand. What better way to divide this house against itself than black poor workers and white poor workers? So now we have the outcroppings, because the whole idea is to cripple and maim this party's power. That's what they're after, is the power. Am I making sense to y'all? It's all about the power. And every time we realize there's power in coming together, there's power in uniting as one. There's power at not caring about your skin color. There's power when you don't care what nationality you're of. There's power when you don't have to you don't have to see eye to eye to walk hand in hand. There's power when you come together. There's power when you do that. And every time we've seen that happen, come on, Heat, power, come on and say it with me. Power, absolutely, SK, right. Racial division is a tool to control power. That's all they want, is power. When they begin to divide us, it's only to get our power. But oh girl, you better say something. But we are lions, and you're gonna hear us roar. Yes, Trigger. When we start coming together based on what we all have in common, rather than to divide based on differences, that's where our power lies, and we've got to do it. We are lions, and you're going to hear us roar. Ooh, I feel something up in here. Because that's where our power lies. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what culture you're from. I don't care if you're LGBTQIAP. I don't care what whatever. We stand together in power. And I'm going to say it. They've used religion to divide us. They've used skin color to divide us. They've used all kinds of denominations to divide us. Every time you turn around and see division, that is what plantation capitalism has created. And at some point, we got to wake up and say, we're not ignorant to your devices. You're not going to divide us anymore. We're going to come together. We're going to find a means of common ground. We're going to find a means of saying, yes, you take my hand, I'll take your hand. And together, we've got power. We've got power. We all brothers and sisters, Heat. We all brothers and sisters. And we've got to get to the point where we stop letting them play this race card against us. But we're not saying that the race card is not real. It's real. You've been using it. You manipulated it. You created it. But we're sick of it. Stop it. You've been doing this same playbook since the Civil War ended. And you saw yourself losing power. So then we have the uprising of the KKK. Then we have the uprising of all these other organizations that say, hey, those black people and those white people shouldn't be together. Unity to exercise our power, SK. So then they start whispering in folks' ear. And really sometimes not a whisper, because a cross burning in your front yard is not a whisper. Burning my house down is not a whisper. Lynching me is not a whisper. That's real stuff. That's reality. But it must stop. And my task, my journey today is to make it clear to people that didn't know, because I think some of the ignorance out there in the world, in the United States right now, with my white brothers and my white sisters, they don't know. Even some of my black brothers and some of my black sisters, they don't know. Some of my Hispanic brothers, some of my Hispanic sisters, they don't know. But we've seen this over and over and over, this same ploy, this same tactic, and it's still working. What you don't know will kill you. And so if we don't understand how all of this came about and why it came about, we'll never know how to heal it. We'll never know how to change it. We'll never know how to bring about a new earth, a new America with liberty and justice for all, not just some, but for everyone. We'll continue to blame. We'll continue to call people lazy, when in actuality, they are no more than products of victimization by a system that did it on purpose. So we come to this place now, y'all. We're in 2020. And I feel like 2021 is going to be even better than we've ever seen in our lives. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that the struggle and the fight that we've been pressing toward all this time is to get us to this point right here. Our children are going to know something different. Our grandchildren are going to know something different. There was racism at the school that you work at last year, and you protected a student who the staff was being racist to the student. And that's real stuff. Listen, I applaud you. I applaud you for standing up for that student, because listen, that's real stuff. And I'm glad you shared that. That's real. And it's a beautiful thing when you got a teacher that'll stand up for your students, because some of these kids are suffering. They're suffering in school. Thank you. Thank you, Heat. And that's the thing that we almost hope and pray in all these different segments, whether it's in the educational system. That's it. Come on. One more time. You hope that there's somebody in the system that's going to stand up for the right. You hope that there's somebody at school that will stand up for your child. And yes, don't you fool yourselves. And I'm going to say this to folks so you can really, really hear what I'm saying. A lot of times it's made as if the child is lying on these adults. But unfortunately, there are adults that engage in dastardly behavior. And I'm glad the people got fired. Girl, you are the bomb diggity. Thank you. At the end of the day, she wouldn't give them food. Thank you for paying for the kids. And if the white kids didn't have money, they got fed anyway. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And I love you don't put up with that, because that is the heart that you've got to have if we're going to change this thing around. It's not just about when it affects my kids, when it affects mine. No, 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 no. When it affects anybody. We keep saying this over and over again here on Yes You O Cubed, one-on-one, just me and you. We are not free until we are all free. We're not. Don't deceive yourselves. Come on, Heat. You had to teach the students that we are all equal and we all bleed the same. And keep on teaching it. Keep on telling it. Keep on proclaiming it. That's the only way we're going to change. And understanding if those students are seeing this manifest, they are being taught either by osmosis or directly that this is the way it's supposed to be, but it's not. So we need people like you, Heat. I love you, girl. You know I love you. We need people like you that'll stand up and say, I'm not afraid to speak. I'm not afraid to speak. I know, Rhonda. That's what I'm talking. That's why I love you so much, Heat. You my girl. Because you have to stand up for the right. I love your big mouth. Stand up all over the place, girl. Because God has put you here to make this world a better place. He's put all of us here to make this world a better place. And so I wanted to stop and pull out and talk a little bit more about the Populist Party, because I want you to see the power if we just come together and understanding that same tool and tactic when we start coming together, just like they did with the Populist Party. The thing that works every time is to get us divided. It works every time, without fail, every time. But think about what this America as a United States could have been if the Populist Party had just stayed together and not given in to the racist tactics of division. We'd be in a totally different United States of America right now. And that's the United States I want to live in. That's the United States I want to be a party to. When all of us look around and realize we're the same. We're the same. Why don't we join together? We're the same. The People's Party, the Populist Party, we're the same. If the Republican Party could embrace that, or the Democratic Party could embrace that, I don't care what you call it. What you call it is just a label. But what you are is the reality of what you do. The reality of what you do is what I'm looking for, not what you called it. Oh man, the labeling, the labeling. But anybody can label and hang a shingle on it. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you married to? I loved it when Frederick Douglass, when he realized that they had given him, he said, they married me to a corpse, when he was talking about the Freedmen's Bank. When he realized, listen, I get labeled so much I don't even worry about it anymore. Honey, they'll make it up. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, that's why you got to know who you are. That's why you got to know what you stand for. You got to know what you're about. Because the people will say all kinds of things. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you be you. Frederick Douglass said, listen, they gave me that bank and he thought he was really getting something. Because remember, Cook, who really should have been named Crook, Cook had built those banks to where they look fabulous. Now, mind you, you got slaves coming out of the plantations. You got slaves who are still really slaves, but they're coming out of the field. They got a hope for a new life. And then all of a sudden they start walking into these banks. that again, who did they put on the pictures? They had Abraham Lincoln. Oh, he freed us. They got Grant. Oh, he fought for us. They put not, and these people have nothing to do with these banks, but it's the way of drawing them in. Marketing, early marketing. It's false advertising because they had nothing to do with it, but it gets you to walk in the door. It gets you to trust. It gets you to have faith just because of the name, just because of the face. That's why we got to pay attention. Stop lapping up everything. Stop eating up everything. What's at the core? So at the end of the day, I'm telling you, educate yourselves. And I'm not even talking about just book knowledge. I'm saying anything that goes on. If you're going to vote for a candidate, educate yourself. Don't just go in there and pull a lever. Don't just go in there and blacken in a circle. Educate yourself. I'm still waiting for the Democrats to tell me, what is your plan? Now, I'm going to vote because I sure want that orange apparition out. But that doesn't let you off the hook from telling me what's the game plan. You ain't saying nothing except for he's not good for us. Well, what are you going to do? Talk. Tell me something. I'm not uneducated. I'm not stupid, and I'm not ignorant. Because if you come in and do the same thing that we just voted out, no, ma'am, no, sir. Educate yourself. Get an understanding. Investigate. Poor Frederick Douglass, because he was a good black face. Now that the bank done went under, and now that all the money is spent and it's really bankrupt, he didn't know what he was getting in himself. But you used my black body to continue to get people of color, black folks, to give to an institution that was already bankrupt when you gave it to me. So they walk in and they see these beautiful, grandiose buildings that look marvelous. You think honestly the government would work better if they brought up the opposing party and say what they're good for instead of. Now you said a word there, Trigger, because as long I'm back to the day they used to do platforms. We don't even have platforms anymore. All we do is mudsling and see who can sling the most mud. That is not going to help me when it comes to making policy, sirs and madams. I don't care about your mudslinging. I don't care about any of that. I need you to give me a platform. And the thing of it is, they don't have a platform. That's why they mudsling and then try to make up a platform when they get in there. It doesn't work. If you ain't got a plan, my dad said, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So why are we surprised that we keep having failure? There's no plan in sight. No plan in sight. But you want us to vote. You want us to vote you in. What are we voting you in for? What's your platform? What do you stand for? I don't know, but we'll get in and see. No, no, no. We're not going to get in and see with my money and my life. But like you said, Trigger, unfortunately, the platform that we have right now or the system that we have right now, that ain't what we're doing. They talk, they play the dozens, they play games, ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, and we all fall down. And that's all I got to say about that. Well, listen. You don't like to vote because every time it's something, you know what? If they'd give us some qualified candidates, it'd be a wonderful thing. But unfortunately, in capitalist, plantation capitalism right now in the United States, I know you're in Canada, but in our situation right now, money is king. And the day and time that we used to have people that were just coming in everyday folks, if you look at our tickets today, almost 99% is nothing but business owners trying to run to be at the top. And very seldom do you see Joe Blow Public running for anything. Because first and foremost, you don't have enough money to run a program, a campaign that can even stand up against it. So big business is taking over. Big business is running this place. Main Street is hollering, yippee yay, and getting bailouts. Wall Street, I'm sorry, is screaming hippie yay and getting bailouts, while Main Street gets nothing. And that, my brothers and sisters, unfortunately, is the dirty bird that we're flying right now and calling it politics. Well, you know how we do. I want to appreciate you. I want to appreciate you for coming in. This is Yes You OQ. One-on-one, just me and you. I hope that you got what you needed today. I hope you heard me talking to you. The Populist Party was the word of the day. And the one thing I want you to take away is that the Populist Party was all, come on, last night was hilarious. We had a ball. Yes, we did. It's okay. Listen, Heat, if I could have came late, I would have been late today. I just couldn't come late because it was my show. Oh, man, but we had a ball last night. And I want you to, come on, anytime you hear the Rebel Inc. lighting it up over there on her channel, I want y'all to check it out because she is doing her thing and she's doing it well. She's got an international thing going on because we got them in Canada. We got them in Japan. We got them in Germany. We got them in Norway. We got them in France. We got them everywhere. And I'm telling you, I love it. I love it. I love it. I appreciate you for joining me today. It's Friday. Yes, the 9th month. The 18th day, I think it is, in the year 2020. I want to say to all of you that joined me, Jams JJ got Grandpa Holmes's chair. Yes, you did. And I want to say congratulations to you, Jams JJ. Thank you for joining me this morning. To the Rebel Inc., to BTD Mom, to SK, to Rhonda Royal, to Trigger, to Heat. I love all of y'all. To the Rebel Inc., you know y'all my peeps, y'all my family. Teresa was in the house till she had to leave, and there's a whole bunch of you out there that I can't see, but you're here. You're my family. I love you. Hey, today is happy birthday to you, Shanna. Oh my goodness. Come on, Shanna. Shanna was bringing the heat last night in the music. We had a time. So we gonna wish Shanna a happy birthday to you, Shanna. Happy birthday. Oh, we need to light it up for Shanna's birthday. Listen, I come every Tuesday through Friday. I'm here from 7 o'clock in the morning until 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So wherever you are, I want you to join me because we have a good time in this house. We talk about what happened while you slumbered, slept, and slobbered. Then we talk about something to empower your life and make a change. I'm going to tell you again, get this book, The Color of Law. If you haven't read it, I want you to get it. It will enrich your life. And then we're working right now from the book, The Color of Money, Black Banks and the Racial Wealth Gap. There's a reason why money isn't coming into our hands, and it's systemic racism that has blocked it and continues to block it. My friend Rhonda Royal, she said, look at here, things are going to happen in life, but I want you to understand this one thing. If you don't deal with it, it will deal with you. So I want you to find whatever's going on in your life. I want you to get your head out of the sand. I want you to stop playing games as if everything's going to be all right, babies, because you got to work with that thing. If you need to get some professional help, do that too, because ain't no shame in your game if you got to go to therapy. Because we want to build the healthiest, the happiest, and the wealthiest community that we can build and call it these here United States of America and beyond. I want to thank Canada for being in the house. Thank you, Heat. Toronto in the house. And I want you to come back and see me again. Come on up and see me again, big boy. Come back next time and have a ball with me. Yes, you, O Cube, one-on-one, just me and you. As I always say when we close it out, I want you to have peace for your journey. I love y'all.
Was starting to fall, and everything that I said never seemed to get into your head. I tried to do the right thing, living my life with the words that I sing. Now tell me, I wanted to know what happened to my best friend. As days turn to weeks,